Olha onde eu estou. Olha onde eu estou. 240 semanas com tudo dando errado. E hoje eu tô aqui com ele, sendo recebido nesse lugar, na NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, pelo Einstein de Wall Street. Não, tô sem acreditar ainda. Fala traders, tudo beleza com vocês, meus brothers and sisters, traders? Tô aqui em Nova York, na frente não, estou dentro da NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, para falar para você que em pouco mais de 2 anos, operando futuros aqui dos Estados Unidos, mercado financeiro tradicional, apenas um ativo, o NQ, pela mesa proprietária Apex Trader Funding. Já fiz mais de $500 mil em saques na mesa proprietária e fui convidado para visitar a NYSE. E aí eu quero que você também siga este caminho, que você pare de operar seu próprio dinheiro. Dê uma olhada no primeiro link na descrição do vídeo, acesse a Apex, escolha a sua conta e use o cupom BRASIL na hora de comprar a sua conta para ter o desconto de 50% até 90% de desconto ali. Eu já estive aqui na Bolsa de Valores de Nova York, New York Stock Exchange algumas vezes, mas nunca desse lado de cá, nunca com o cartãozinho de visita, nunca fui recebido lá dentro. Dessa vez fiquei a manhã inteira ali, acompanhei o mercado, a abertura do mercado. Foi um momento único que eu guardarei para sempre na minha memória, na minha trajetória, na minha carreira como trader. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Olha essa vista da América. Não, tô sem acreditar ainda.
Please do not sign the wall. They will come and get you.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're watching you. There was an Israeli IDF soldier who decided he thought it was a good idea to sign the wall. Within 3 minutes, they had him escorted, even though he was like, you know, like a good guy. They had him escorted off the floor. They saw it because their camera's here. So we are under constant surveillance. I once actually got fined $5,000 for doing something. This is the same, this is Wall Street, right? Where you guys, this is Broad Street actually. So this is the day of the crash of 1929. Okay, look at these guys. He's having a bad day, right? So in those days, look at this horse and carriage pulling a Model T Ford, right? So this was also called the curb. So they used to trade outside on Broad Street, but you can see these are sort of young hustlers. These are the wealthy guys wearing the bowlers, and then these guys, the fedora guys, were the actual brokers, right? But at the end of this day, the market was down, what, 69%? So that's an original bell from 1919. This is 1985, the first year I worked here, okay? So you can see that was the computers came out in 83. So these were static, so we did not adopt any kind of technology for a while. So these were called quotron machines. They were static teleprompters that used to give people the market in a stock. So they never moved. So you could just sort of, so here's a broker, he just bought some stock, he's raising his hand, screaming squad, right? Some guy in a little blue jacket will grab that piece of paper, will take it over to the booth, get some more information and bring it back to him. But you can see, I mean, look at that, the amount of people in there and sort of that, sort of frenetic. Yeah, so these guys, he's a market maker, right? So that's Mark, right? So what market makers do, obviously, you know, they inject liquidity into the market. They create a smooth and active market. In this new world, they are on both sides of the market at all times. So they've built sort of a proprietary algo that basically gets them involved wherever necessary. The other part is, in the absence of the public buying it or selling it, let's say during a crash or a crisis, they have to buy it. So they actually work for the firm, but they actually represent the company, the listed company. So they need to step in and prevent. So we have sort of guardrails, right? Where it's, hey Jim, how are you? So we have down 7%, the market goes slow. Down 10%, we stop trading. It's called limit up, limit down. You'll see it on IPOs. You'll see it on GameStop. Up and down, right when it stopped trading 29 times that day.
Right.
I was in it the whole friggin' time. They're not gonna be able to get in. Stay there. Manhattan, it's like shaped like an oval. Hudson River, East River. George Washington inaugurated right there. Okay, that's where the statue of him is. Wall Street was a wall. Okay, above the wall was indigenous Indians and forest. Below the wall in 1650 was already business was going on. There was a tree outside before this building was built in 1650 called the Buttonwood tree, right? There used to be 26 brokers who already were hanging out under that tree in 1650. Every day they would have wheelbarrows. The boats would come in from all over the world with tobacco, coffee. This sort of pays tribute to the tobacco leaves, you see that? So they would come in literally with all kinds of commodities and stuff. They would go down to the port, right, where the Staten Island, where the Statue of Liberty is. It wasn't there yet, right? That was 1650. They would pick up all this stuff, bring it back to the tree, under the tree, and they would wheel and deal. So in 1650, they were already establishing this place as sort of a hub. It was like the corner, right? It's where you could buy the good shit. And so they did that from 1650 to 1792, 1797, right? So that was probably about 4 generations of their family, same family, right? And in 1797, they made an agreement called the Buttonwood Agreement, which sort of established that they were the founding members of what went on to become the stock exchange, right? Their word is their bond. This is the way we do business. You know, a handshake is a consummation of a deal, right? So they did that, and then in 1903, they did a lot of business for the next 100 years, and then this was built in 1903, right? So that's kind of, that's the coolness of this room, right? And the room is literally the same way as it was. It's not that different. And then, so they slowly started, you know, they would 1, 2, 3, 4 companies went public, right? Union Pacific, railroads were big, you know, stock companies to go public in the beginning. Energy, Con Edison, stuff like that. Hormel made Spam. I don't know if you know what Spam is.
Like the food?
The food. So Spam is the food that they served the soldiers in World War I. So that was the company that made that, as gross as that stuff is. But so slowly, one stock went public, and then it kind of grew from there. Now we have 3,000 plus companies that are public.
What's with all the wires? Is everything too heavy to fall down if they break?
It's this, so you have to realize this. So we are on this wild bedrock at the bottom of Manhattan. So there is that the ground underneath us is not strong enough to actually support the weight of this stuff.
No way.
So these things the cables actually are suspending.
They're holding everything up.
They're holding everything up.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
Wow.
Final da visita, mas dá uma olhada tudo como aconteceu. Cinco anos só me ferrando, perdendo dinheiro, operando no mercado brasileiro, e em pouco mais de 2 anos, olha onde eu estou, olha o que eu vivi hoje. Essa visita da NYSE, ser recebido pelo Einstein de Wall Street, não sei mais o que eu posso te dizer para você vir também operar no mercado financeiro tradicional aqui dos Estados Unidos. O próprio Einstein de Wall Street falou que é muito melhor operar dinheiro da mesa proprietária, arriscar a mesa proprietária, do que o seu próprio dinheiro. Imagina, o cara que é o Einstein, é o cara mais antigo aqui da NYSE, o cara tá falando isso para você e você ainda vai insistir em operar seu próprio dinheiro? Não faça isso. Espero que você tenha gostado dessa visita aqui na NYSE. Eu achei sensacional, não pude gravar tudo, gravar ali o momento da abertura do mercado, o Ringing Bell. Foi bem legal, bem emocionante, eu chorei ali na hora desse sino. Só vou deixar um pouco do registro aqui, porque a maior parte eu não pude filmar. Então é isso aí, um grande abraço e até o próximo vídeo.